Welcome back. Yes, we were talking about, I'm sorry. We have since been joined by an economist, Mr. Ayo Teriba. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
We're looking at the freshly released economic plan, and we were talking about the manufacturing sector and how we can manufacture without, should I say, easy access to foreign exchange. That's what Mr. Chukwu was explaining to us before you came.
Okay, so back to what we were saying. The plan has embedded in it ways to remove some of the constraining factors to the real sector. One of which you mentioned earlier is the issue of power supply. That they have a plan to increase power supply to 10 gigawatts, which is 10,000 megawatts. They have a plan. The plan also stipulates that there will be better coordination between monetary and fiscal policies. And the central bank is encouraged to adopt more market-reflective exchange rates. There's also in that plan to address some of the policies that impact negatively on the private sector. If you look at the plan is very elaborate on infrastructure. And infrastructural constraint is one of the major constraints that the private sector has been contending with, particularly transport infrastructure. So if the plan is implemented as it is written on paper, then the manufacturing sector would have had some of what we call the limiting factors, some of the constraining factors that have impinged on its growth removed.
Okay, Mr. Teriba, this is not the first time Nigeria has had plans. I mean, we're making plans, and the issue of implementation, as they would say in leadership trainings, they would say when you set a goal, you need to give action steps. Do you think this plan is, I'm not saying is it a good plan, it's a good plan. Is it a workable plan?
Well, what's commendable, is the fact that the government finally
has a plan.
Has a plan. That's a major step forward. And so, regardless of the content of the plan, the fact that Nigeria is beginning to be forward-looking. We have a plan that has a 4-year horizon. I think that's very commendable. And the government, so in engaging the government, yes, it's not a holy writing that has no flaw, that's been there for thousands of years and it's been perfect from the day the inspiration came. So there will be pros and cons. And the government should be willing, to take, both praises, and criticisms. In terms of implementability, I don't think the plan is proposing to implement much. It's 140 pages, but mostly listing objectives, mostly expressing wishes. Because a plan is supposed to be, a list of action that you wish to take. So if you ask me what's the plan going to do next quarter, nothing. It has nothing to say on the specifics of when, what will be done, how those things will be done. It says, I want growth, I want stability, I want private sector involvement, I want infrastructure.
Houses.
But no, it's very weak on the specifics. On when, what will be done, and how.
No timelines.
So it's really more a projection rather than a plan, because a plan has to include, critical action steps. So, but it's good that Nigeria is beginning to attempt to plan, and the feedback, that we give the government will only help us, to get closer, to true, in the real sense. So I see a lot of tables, see a lot of projections, but I don't see any promise to do anything in any quarter, in any month, or in any year.
Mr. Terry, if I'm correct, you said something about attempting to plan.
Yes.
Why do you put it like that?
Yeah, because this is not something we've had in recent years. The last there was some document released mid-term by the Jonathan regime. It was not much. It was much more trying to prove to the country that we've achieved this, we've achieved that. Not so much of I want to take the country from this destination to that. And since this new government came, there has been a lot of call for a blueprint, for a plan, and this is the first attempt by the government beyond budget.
Okay.
Beyond annual budget. This is the first attempt, serious attempt by the country to put a plan on the table. And I see it as a very weak attempt. First, in that it does not commit to any sequence of steps that will be taken.
Okay.
And the plan should include a sequence of action. Should tell you what actions will be taken by who. This plan does not contain that. This plan just plays up our wishes.
Okay.
It just plays to our aspiration without any specifics on how those aspirations will be fulfilled.
Okay.
And until we lay out the steps that will be taken to take us from here to there, it's not a concrete plan.
Agriculture is a major part of this, and the plan says that we are projected to become a net exporter of key agricultural products such as rice, cashew nuts, groundnuts, cassava, and vegetable oil.
Beyond the projections, how is this going to come about?
Well, that was my question. That was going to be my next question to you.
Anybody can sit down and project. Nigeria needs to move beyond that. We need to put a lot more rigor into the planning process. So
and by
plan will convince you.
2020, we expect not to import one drop of petrol.
If horses were wishes.
Or if wishes were horses.
It's good, finally to write those aspirations down. But it'd be better to get serious, about how those aspirations will be made reality.
Could it not be that this is the first step? Maybe in a week or 2 weeks, we will then get a document as to how.
And let's hope.
Which is what you're talking about.
Let's hope that will be the case. Yeah, so that's the purpose of this conversation. We can't sit down here and deceive ourselves. This is Africa's largest population. This is the largest population you can find anywhere in Africa, in Middle East, or in Europe. The closest to it is about half. So you can't sit here and, just play up wishes without any concrete plans.
And that clip that we watched was talking about how the private sector would fit into this plan. How do you see the private sector being a part of all this?
Yeah, one of the reservations, one of the biggest reservations I have about the plan is that it's still the mindset of the plan is still that government will do everything.
But we all know the government cannot do everything.
We will provide infrastructure, and the most they consider the public-private partnership. Not in this age and time. The countries that have made the biggest strides in providing infrastructure, for example, India, opened up to private investment. India announced in January that they are the most open to foreign direct investment in the world. And they don't just say it. They publish a list of sectors